Just so you know.
Yeah.
That's all. I think that there's.
Must be some electrical short or something.
Still happening.
Okay,
We're live.
We're live.
I'm just with them all the time, so I didn't want to.
You're ready for me?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. So Marina will not be in attendance. Vicky is here.
She was gonna be on Zoom. She will be joining us by Zoom as soon as she can.
Oh, I thought that was at 6. Okay. No?
5:30 is the regular board meeting.
Right, I know that, but I thought she couldn't be, no, till
We'll let
later.
her know.
Okay, we'll let her know. Vicky is here, myself, Kim, Robert and I is not, Amanda, yes, Matt is via Zoom. And then we have, Mike is here, Tom is here. Is Jason here? No,
No.
No, Jason is on vacation.
he's on vacation. We have Pat, we have Kathy, and we have John. All right, with that, mission statement, the Baroque Area School District provides a quality education for all students that inspires continuous learning, positive relationships, curiosity, and compassion in an environment that welcomes diversity while developing respectful and responsible citizens. We would like to welcome visitors for public comment.
And the people that have signed up are right next to you, Angie.
Right next to me. Okay, we have Tammy Maston. Thanks for coming, Tammy. Right there. Yes, please.
Hey, well, I know almost everyone here. Tom and I have briefly met.
Yep.
But my name is Tammy Maston and I teach second grade in our district. I've been a teacher for 31 years, 27 of them in Baroque. I love Baroque and I love our school district. I've had some of your children. My husband and I have raised 2 children in Baroque who are just starting their adulting during this crazy time of economic and health crises. Times are not easy for anyone right now. I come tonight to share one thought regarding our return to learn plan. But before I do that, I have a few disclaimers. First, there are tough decisions to make. And I'm very glad the buck does not stop with me because there really is no way to please everybody. I understand that, and I appreciate the work and time our leadership team has dedicated to this process. Second, because I am who I am, I have been very vocal in sharing my ideas and thoughts with our district leadership team. However, this team has been inundated with opinions, concerns, and possible solutions. So I understand it's hard to really hear everyone. But at least I know I have done my job in trying to help solve this difficult situation. And third, and I think most importantly, I'm currently teaching summer school, and I love being back face-to-face with students. Walking back into school on the first day brought peace to my heart and joy to my soul. School is my happy place, even after 31 years. Teaching in person again feels so good. Now, my one thought with which to leave you tonight is this. When we consider our plan to return to learn, are we making a decision primarily based on, 1, what's the best option for families? 2, what I have heard suggested by some people in national social media, what is best or easiest for teachers? Or 3, what is the safest option for students and staff? For the first question, what is the best thing for families? The data I have seen from elementary parent surveys clearly show that the majority of parents want their kids back in school face-to-face full-time. Completely understandable. Parents have to work. And if that is our primary goal, coming back face-to-face for as long as we can is the best solution. For the second question, Are we basing our decision primarily on what teachers want? Well, as far as I'm concerned, the easiest choice for me as a teacher is also coming back to school, face-to-face with students. It's what I know best. It's what I'm good at. It's my happy place. And I believe many other teachers in our district would concur. However, if we are making our decision based on the third question, what is the safest option to return to learn, which our guidelines have consistently said is our #1 priority in this process, I'm just not as certain that coming back full-time on campus is what is the best choice for the health and safety of our students and staff. If safety truly is our #1 priority, educating in new ways has to be explored more thoroughly. I have every confidence that I can build relationships with students and families and continue to educate children, regardless of my location. I have every confidence that most students can learn, regardless of their location. And I have every confidence that our community would step up to creatively support families in need of childcare or different learning environments. We are a community of intelligent, hardworking, caring people. We are now forced into adulting in a new way in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. So we have a choice to make. We either believe the pandemic is real and the safety of our children and staff are possibly in jeopardy, or we don't believe that the threat is real and it is safe to send 1,000 plus people back together in 4 weeks. I don't know the answer for sure, but I do believe there are creative solutions that still need to be explored. Thank you for your time. Good luck with your decision. And know that no matter what decision is made, my colleagues and I will work hard to educate and love the children in our care, no matter where we are.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you for coming. The next person is Adam Fogelson. I am going to say, and I should have said this at the beginning, it's supposed to be 5 minutes. It's supposed to be.
I think it was 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
It was 8, but that's okay.
No, it's 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
I'll try to make it
I
up.
timed you.
I'll try to make this up by doing it in 2.
Thank you. No,
And
that's not what I meant.
That's quite all right. So everything, that was lovely.
Yes, she
Really?
spoke very well.
I wanted to applaud. But I agree, I want to get right to that third point about safety. Let's see, 24 cases reported in La Crosse today, of which 1 was a middle schooler, 2 are high schoolers. That was this afternoon. And I don't want to sound like Mr. Negative. Generally, I'm not. But I want to get to the point. The point is safety. We have staff with prior health conditions. We have students with health conditions. Right now, the community spread here is low because there hasn't been a spreading event. I would hate to see our school become that. We did a little survey. I'm not speaking as the VEA, by the way, although I'm co-president. I'll be very quick here. Did a survey, some of the top things, and we're already doing it. And thank goodness we're doing these masks for everybody, students and staff. Big, very, very popular. Start the year virtually and face-to-face when positivity rates drop. Of the respondents, 30.6%. When you take it all above the halfway point, though, it gets closer to 50. Here's some quick comments. I hope there's extensive training available for teachers and expectations are set for any online portion of learning. Here's another one. I'm absolutely not comfortable with face-to-face instruction. because the mitigation strategies outlined thus far seem to be inadequate. As a parent of 3 school-aged children, my thoughts are with them first right now, safety first. Somebody, again, I prefer to begin virtually and then hope to return face-to-face sooner than starting face-to-face first, having to leave and further disrupting our students' and staff's learning and lives. I'm not going to go on much more because I do want to keep it brief. Personally, I don't work in this building. I work in my own little realm over there. I can almost do what I want within certain guidelines, of course. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be over here. What I don't want to see is any of us or this district, anyone become sick or become a source for the illness or this pandemic. I think coming back face to face right now is actually setting us back into a burning building. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for coming, Adam. I appreciate it. We all do. Craig Pierce.
He just needs to unmute.
Do I have to unmute it?
Nope, he's got it.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
All right. Hi, my name is Craig Pierce. I work as a physician assistant here in Viroqua, and I worked as a public school teacher for over a decade in the Madison area and in the Triplets. Our daughters have been enrolled in Viroqua Area Montessori School from the very beginning. I'm here today to ask that the board act in good faith to carry out the charter with Viroqua Area Montessori School as described in the contract as a vibrant and productive partnership. I'm a parent of 2 daughters who attend the VAMs, and we are proud to raise them in a community that values education and close community. We're grateful to the families before us that sought to create a diversity of educational opportunities such as VAMs, Bright Futures, Laurel, and Trillium schools. These options are positive aspects of our community, helping local employers to bring professionals into our community and retain talent within Viroqua. Our family, along with many others, choose this district, but live outside of the boundaries, bringing our tax dollars with us to the district. I would like to thank the VAMS Governance Council for their direction and the VAMS teachers for their hard work in creating a pedagogical design that allows for the Montessori curriculum and method to be delivered in a safe way, consistent with the wishes of the majority of VAMS families. This will ensure that instruction can be delivered to our students by their beloved teachers in a manner that meets them at their level of risk tolerance for students, families, and teachers, all while providing Montessori-based instruction. I ask today that the Board of Education, in good faith, recognize the powers of the VAMS Governance Council to carry out the terms of their contract with the district with regards to curriculum and instruction, and support the plan established and approved by the VAMS Governance Council. I also ask that you ensure that district administrators have the means necessary to support these plans. Thank you for taking my comments.
Thank you, Craig, for speaking via Zoom. It should also be noted that Marina, Matt, and Robert are all in attendance today via Zoom. So thank you, Craig. With that, I'm going to move over a little bit here. The next item is GPS needlepoint ionization system. Is there a motion to approve the GPS needlepoint ionization system as recommended by Buildings and Grounds Committee, which is the precision, it's the precision, which is $104,630. Is there a motion? Matt made that motion, and I will make the second since we were in attendance at the Building and Grounds Committee meeting. Is there any discussion of the topic? I know many of you were also in attendance at that budget.
Yes, one
Meeting.
quick question if I may. No?
No.
Okay,
Mhm.
good.
Any board members, I'm sorry about that. Vicky?
Could you review where those will be installed again?
Sure. So the needlepoint bipolar ionization systems are attached, basically on the, my understanding is on the coils of the air handlers throughout the buildings, wherever those air handlers are. So the air passes over through them, in their route down to the classrooms.
So that will be elementary and high school bus garage?
Not the bus garage.
Better Futures?
In Better Futures, we would probably need to get a quote for a residential unit, which is around $1,000. I thought about that a little bit ago. Yep.
I was just wondering if all
Yep.
buildings, like, if we make sure we're.
Yeah,
doing-
I think we should consider that. Yep.
And that would include the bus garage as well? Or is
Yeah,
that
I'd have
not
to
a
look to see
possibility
if that would
because,
even be a recommended application.
okay,
And we're talking diesel fuel in there and stuff.
yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
But if
But
it
that's
would-
something you'll look into.
Yeah, yep.
Any other discussion?
Are there other districts around us putting these in now?
My understanding, Kickapoo, and they announced to their staff that they were doing this, and my understanding would be Hillsborough. I know Alaska was in a decision-making process on it. I don't know where they landed on that with their district, and otherwise I can't speak. In their literature, their installation base is over 1,500 K-12 schools, 2,000 healthcare applications, and over 200,000 installations worldwide. So it is what I would consider a newer technology. I think the actual technology itself isn't, but I think this application is. As I told the committee, nobody is making a claim that this kills COVID. I think the theory is that it could work towards that, but it is, it has been proven to kill molds, really reduces the smells of a building. They have their claims as far as sleepiness and attention deficit and headaches, all of which are impacted by the air that you breathe. So I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I don't know how they measure that in a control system. Both of these bidders have installed them in their own personal residences and cannot say enough about them.
Are there many places that do that, like businesses that install them?
I was afraid that it was gonna be the first one that reached out to us, who coincidentally is our HVAC demo control. And then unbeknownst to me or unrequested, Precision did reach out also. So I believe that this is something that GPS is the name of the company, is working through existing contractors in offering these.
Any other discussion?
What were the cost differences?
119,237 to 104,630. So 14, or yeah, be about $14,600. I did share with the committee that in sharing the results of the bid and explaining to Mr. Demmel that the board can accept or refuse any or all bids, but that his was higher and that my recommendation would be for the lower bid, Precision. He did share with me that he totally understood and he understands that, he has some overhead costs that Precision may not. He feels he would be more than happy to service it in the future if that were a necessity. And that, he could help us with any warranty issues we would have or anything that doesn't seem to be working right, or the integration into our control system at the same time. So he was very positive. He really does feel this is a good thing for our district.
What about addressing some of the other issues that potentially are there during this?
We talked about that briefly at the, and those, Robert, I just don't have enough to share with the full board or the committee as far as what our exact plan is. I think we're all in agreement that some of those issues also need to be addressed. Even though I've been assured that this will take care of some of those issues, it's still the underlying problems we need to get taken care of.
You're hopeful though that the windows will take care of some of it, correct?
No.
No?
The windows, which have been great and have, as far as I know, we haven't had any leaks. So, I mean, it's great. That's not what's causing, these are air handling and humidity reduction issues that we have in our system. The system that wasn't designed to be used as we're using it in the elementary school. Our system in the high school has been very good.
Any other discussion? I'm going to have each individual vote on this versus just saying aye. I'm going to start with all of you on Zoom. Matt, I'll start with you at the top.
Hi.
Marina. That was an aye. Okay, Robert.
I'm conflicted because I'm not convinced it'll do anything for COVID, but I feel like we almost have a gun to our head, so yeah.
Vicky,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Amanda,
Aye.
and I vote aye. So it passes unanimously. Mike, thank you. Tom, Pat, Kathy, Jason, John, thank all of you for your time and energy spent, Beth, to gather this information to hopefully remedy a problem and hopeful to assist in the future. I will also say that I did not, we do not have any resignation, so I did pass over that item. The next item is the 2021 Return to School Concept Plan. And we were also given the parent summary survey during that time. Everything that we're going to discuss today, and I can't say it enough, has the possibility of changing before this night is over. We're in a time that the only constant is change. And I hope that everyone in this room, as well as anyone listening, as well as community members and students and staff and everyone understands that what we're talking about tonight is what would possibly work tonight. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow that might change this concept plan. So I just want to preface it with that. And with that, Tom, go ahead.
Sure. So that's a great way to lead into this, Angie, and that's exactly what you'll hear me say multiple times is the decisions that have been made and to present to you have been made with the information that we have at the time right now. I was just at a meeting at the hospital this morning with our medical advisory team, and they shared with me a story of just last week. They published something for their employees at 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, CDC changed their recommendations so that any time after that, it didn't matter, right? And so again, that's another great reminder of, hey, this is, as of this moment, as of with the information that we have presented to us today. So I want to first of all give some acknowledgement to our district leadership team. This team was established under the previous district administrator, and we tasked them with something that they have not had to do before, as no one has ever had to do before, and that's come up collectively with a plan, a concept, if you will. And this is that we're using that word intentionally because there are so many plans for each individual situation. If we look at middle school art is completely different than a second grade classroom. And so we need to understand that there are going to be different plans based upon a variety of situations. But this team, based upon recommendations by the CDC and DHS in consultation with a whole host of personnel from Vernon County Health Department, Department of Public Instruction, Vernon Memorial Healthcare Medical Advisory Team, Vernon County Superintendents, and all of CISA 4. We have really presented all of this information and again, have come up with this concept. So I do want to say we also took into account all of the survey results. This is a very brief summary of the summary that you guys received of what the staff will receive, broken down based upon their building levels. So 72% of parents, and again, another disclaimer, this is that moment in time. If you think about even your own personal thoughts and feelings on coming back to school right now, they change within a day based upon the information that you have presented to you. So I don't want to say this is locked in any which way. So at that moment, 72% preferred in person, 28% preferred virtual. 29% of our students needed busing of that survey. And again, if we'll remind you, we did have over 800 respondents to that survey. So that was a great cross section. 28% chose that they would have their student mask all of the time, and 20% said that they would never mask their child. And so again, we are split as about as evenly as you can in the masking situation. Now that could change, especially over the last month or so, when you're looking at governor's orders on top of major stores, kind of pinching that as well. So, with Walmart requiring it and multiple other, chains requiring it. But at that time, that's the information that we had. So some considerations that we are going to make publicly here, that we continuously come back to at admin meetings, at DLT meetings, pretty much every meeting is, one, this is extremely emotional for all parties, ourselves included. So as a board, as an admin team, teaching staff, parents, community, students, this is emotional for everybody. This is not an easy situation. We are not going to make everyone happy. We know that. And the situation is also extremely fluid. We've had this conversation before, and I will have it again. Information that we have tonight will not be the information we have 3 weeks from now. It's not the information we'll have a week from now, and potentially not even what we have tomorrow. So we need to understand that this is fluid and subject to change as we move forward. So after all of that, we've worked for the last 3 weeks with that district leadership team, had many individual conversations with teachers, teaching staff, emails, phone calls, some in person. Again, when we put this all together, this was the concept plan that we came up with as being the best option for Viroqua as of today. And so that was kindergarten through 6th grade would be 5 days per week in person. 7th through 12th grade would be an A-B schedule. So what that would look like is you would have an A group that would meet on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then they would have 3 days of virtual or remote learning. And then they would have a B group that would meet on Thursdays and Fridays, and then would have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as their virtual or remote instruction. So why? Well, there are many reasons. We kept coming back to younger students are more resilient to contracting and transmitting COVID-19. So our medical team confirmed again today that age 11 seems to be the hard cutoff, which is right along in line with these grade levels. And they do say that any above that is transmitting and contracting COVID-19 just as at the same rate as anyone else, as you and I. And so what this does is this gets our more vulnerable student population to only half of the students in the building at one time, eliminating many issues. So number of students in class, transition times where you have, potentially up to 400, 500, 600 kids all in the hallways at the same times, as well as some of those common areas. So again, when we break this all down, this is the recommendation that we have. Now there are tons of other pluses and minuses. We understand that there's not a slam dunk this is the exact way to go with no negative ramifications. Another disclaimer, there will be a full-time virtual option at each grade level. Now that's going to look different, and the building principals are working on how that's going to look in each of their buildings. It looks very different in Pat's Elementary than it does in the high school. And so again, they are laying out working with those plans and how that actually looks. What does a day in the life of a fourth grade virtual student look like? What does a day in the life of a fourth grade in-person, student look like, or traditional student look like? Moving forward, there are many details that have to be worked out. Can you guys go to the next slide there? Maybe. Many details that have to be worked out, but here are some details that we did discuss at the DLT. Would be a change in dismissal time. Elementary would be done at 2:20. Middle school would be done at 2:30. Now there are multiple reasons for this. Most districts in the area are doing an earlier dismissal time, some by as much as an hour. And so what this does is this increases time for planning for in-person and virtual learning, which especially at the middle school and high school, you would need if you were having, half of your students come in Monday, Tuesday, half of them coming in Thursday, Friday, as well as increasing, time to focus on mental health and self-care. This is going to be a top priority this year. It has to be for our teaching staff, for our support staff, for everyone involved, including students. And then allowing more time to problem solve within teams, as I do believe that we're going to have so many unique hurdles and situations within each subject area, within each grade level, within each building. As part of this as well, we will be reevaluating our plan every 4.5 weeks to see if revisions will be needed. Now, this is not saying that every 4.5 weeks we're going to come up with a new concept. But what this is saying is this is giving us leeway to understand, one, things will change, as Angie has pointed out, they will change. And we need to be able to change with that. And then this is also saying that we are going to be reevaluating because eventually we would love to be to resemble something close to school the way it used to look. Now, again, that's not saying that we'll ever get back to 100% the way it was before March 13th last year. But I do believe that this will give us the opportunity to reevaluate and revise our plan. It has to be living, it has to be breathing, but we also have to give enough time to see if what we're trying to do is working and providing the type of education that we really truly want to for our students. So moving forward, what does this mean? And again, I know that there are 1,000,001 questions, not only from the board, but from the staff. But moving forward, if this overall concept, and that's why we're calling it a concept, because there are so many details that have to be worked out. But if we can approve the overall concept, planning will shift to buildings, grade levels, content areas in different schools for what it looks like to their particular situation. We will have staff meetings tomorrow and Friday, especially if the plan gets approved. We need to have those meetings to iron out not only big issues, but also to make sure teachers are ready to answer questions. That's a tough position to be in when you don't have a lot of the answers. So we want to make sure that they're ready to at least answer some of them and know who to point to so that we can get those answers. A survey would go out to families on the 10th. That's next Monday. Detailing what those day in the life would look like in both situations, and then also having them make a choice. As the previous survey was more of a, hey, as of today, what would you be thinking? This would be, hey, here are your choices. What are you thinking right now, and where are you at for September 1st? We will then have town hall meetings with the community on the 11th and 12th, and those would be different times based upon the different buildings, because again, I think there are so many specific questions to the different grade levels. And then that survey would be due back to us on Sunday evening, the 16th, so that we can finalize any staffing situations that we would need to at that time. Again, we have many questions yet to answer, including but definitely not limited to class sizes, transportation, How do specials look in each of the buildings? Meals for virtual students, meals for in-person students, where are they served? Prep time for staff, charter schools, what does their day-to-day look like? Classes, are we gonna be able to offer some classes outside? Obviously, some of the plans, if you look at California, are gonna have to be different than Wisconsin, where they're outside for the majority of their days for some schools. What does recess look like? And obviously, we have many, many, many others. But in the end, you know, the one constant we can give you, the one for sure we can give you is these plans will change, and that will be based upon Vernon County, the Vernon County Health Department recommendations as we move forward. So I feel like I just ran a marathon with words here. So I'm going to try to listen now. So what questions do you as board members have? I will do my best to answer them. But really, again, what we're looking for here is this concept, right? And this is where we can truly get into the nuts and bolts of the planning process, the details of the planning process, because it really truly depends on which route the board wants us to go.
So why don't I start just, and I'll do it a reverse. Amanda, do you have any? I mean, I know there's questions, but can they be answered?
Right.
And so
Mhm.
part of my question is, so we say our motion is to approve the 2021 return to school concept plan.
Concept, yeah.
If in 1 week it shifts and things are, okay, it's virtual,
Mhm.
is that something that then we have to replan, or we're just saying plan
Yep.
based on, what we're saying is you're going to make a plan based on recommendations from those ones that you listed at the beginning of your presentation. So Vernon County Health Department, district leadership team,
Yep.
the VMH staff. So whatever it may be, it's not necessarily replanning that we're not approving that you are going to do this model. We're
Correct.
approving the
The
concept.
concept of it. And I know that it's so difficult right now. There's not a right way and a wrong way to do this. But especially in the situation that, let's say Vernon County says, you need to go virtual. We have a huge, uptick in cases. You need to go virtual. We would absolutely, if that's the recommendation, we would absolutely present that, we would contact you guys, but that would be out of our hands at that point. That would be a different recommendation than what we've been receiving from any entity. So yeah, we wouldn't have to come back necessarily and say, yep, you approve something that, the county is giving us that guidance on. Mm-hmm.
And maybe I should preface this with, there are a lot of school boards in our area, in our county, for example, that the administrative team, the district administrator, has presented a concept and the board has said flat out no. And it's not just to have our administrative team spend all of these hours on a concept and then we don't support it. So it is just a concept, and it very well might not, any of this might not happen, but we are agreeing to this because of the recommendations from the county, VMH. We are approving only the concept because of where we are today, so that our administrative team can try to plan according to where we are today. I feel like I'm saying, I'm speaking in circles, but does that make sense or not at all?
No, I get it. It's kind of when we talk about this, who's meeting first, budget, finance, or compensation? Because they can't meet one before the other. They have to meet the same, but you have to have one before the other. So I get it. It's just an awkward place to try to be, because depending on some of those, I don't even remember what the wording of it is, but the processes or the details of it,
Right.
is part of it. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe once other people ask
Sure,
questions,
sure.
I'll think of more, but of course I have lots of detailed
Yeah.
questions,
Mhm.
but that's not what this is. So as far as, I'm just trying to make sure the understanding is of
Yep.
what the actual approval is.
Yep.
What the board is voting on.
Right,
Right.
it's just this concept. Ken?
I think I understand where Amanda's coming from, definitely, and I know other districts have all of a sudden, they'll bring a concept and the other just boards have said, no, we're just going all virtual and that's what we're gonna do. I personally like the concept because I think every parent still has the option to allow their child to be at home if that's what they feel is the safest. Now, obviously, there are staff members that are gonna be, have to be shifted, and I think we have to understand that our administrators have to just do the best they can, and maybe some staff members, won't be standing in front of a classroom here, maybe they'll be assisting with other things. It's not going to necessarily look the same, because number one, maybe you'll come back and maybe there's one whole group of students, let's just say there's enough for one less third grade section because enough kids are gone. Well, then maybe that one staff member will be doing something else, whether it's assisting to monitor kids that are on, being schooled at home or whatever. And then there are details like that. But we have to, it's hard because we all want to know what the details are, and there is no answer. And, I listened to what the speaker said and safety and whether they want a virtual, but there is the mental health aspect. And I, having had the position I had, have to worry about those kids that have to have school. They've already suffered by not having school more than potentially, especially some of those little elementary kids, would potentially suffer if they were in school. So I am in favor of the overall concept because it's going to change. We have to have faith in our administrators to say, do the best you can. We understand everyone's not going to be happy. We understand some staff aren't going to be happy, some parents are, but we are allowing for a lot of options. The ticky-tacky details will be difficult, but I think the concept allows for most people, possibly not staff, and I realize that, but I know that our principals will do the best with the staff they have to make things work for them however they can. No solution will be perfect. So given those things, I am definitely in favor, and I know it could change tomorrow, and such is life right now, and often such is the day of an administrator. They might have a plan for their day, and they may not even get to the first item on their plan for that day because 300 other things happened in the meantime and they didn't get to it. And that's what this is going to be the same for teachers and everyone else. So I'm in favor of the concept plan.
Vicki?
Yeah, I mean, we always have to keep moving ahead, and I would say planning to go back, yes, because we've already proven we can go virtual like that. And I know that's part of the plan too, that virtual is an option. Based on what I see today, numbers wise, I would say go ahead. We have had that advantage here in Viroqua of learning from others. Back in March, we saw what was happening in areas with much higher spread, and we closed. In fact, we closed, and we moved that closing back because my kids came home on Friday and said, "Hey, we're gonna be home on Wednesday," and then no, that was their last day was Friday. So we have adjusted. We do change as we see things changing. We're willing to adapt. I just don't like what I'm seeing from states that have reopened. My learning from the states that have reopened is that I haven't seen success. I have not seen success with
people trying to have summer camps and the spread that happens there. So while I'm not gonna vote no to go forward, I am going to just keep that in everyone's mind that we can learn from what other people are doing. I just haven't seen positive results. Yeah, parents have the option for virtual learning. We've got to keep that in there. That is just going to keep a lot of people with the district, and maybe help, some people being the virtual teacher, and just trying to keep everyone safe. I mean, that's what I worry about. Mental health, yes. Are there other ways to deliver those services and get those kids together in a safe way besides coming into the classroom? I don't know. I've seen it in my own house. My kids are begging to go back to school, but yet today my middle schooler said, well, if I'm not in school with my friends, I might do virtual. Because where are you gonna, who's going on which day that's the social part she's looking at. Are my friends gonna be there? Because if they aren't, why should I be there? I'll just do virtual. So, I think we're trying to meet everybody's needs. I think we're looking at all the data. I think we're doing what maybe some other schools aren't doing, and just we're thinking about every single thing. So yeah, I would say keep moving forward, and it's like walking on jelly.
Great analogy.
Robert, do you have anything to add?
I've never tried walking on jelly, but I'm a big mess. Oh, I had some questions about a lot of different things, but this looks like this would be the best case scenario of being able to come back to school under this plan. And from this point on, the only thing will happen is less days or more towards virtual. So we're making probably double plans for our teachers, and at least some of them. We have two different ways of delivering education. I wonder how that works in their world. What happens if a large percentage of our students in a particular grade or school choose to go virtual? Then do we go all virtual? If we have a positive case, then what? Whether it's a staff person or a student. And another question I had is the percentage of teachers that are very reluctant or may not be coming to school to teach face-to-face. I don't know how that works with our labor or contracts or whatever. So I have a lot of questions, and I guess the best case scenario is what we're talking about today. And so I guess I'll support this concept.
And Robert, I can give you a little bit. Obviously, as far as what happens if we have a positive case, there is guidance from Vernon County Health that they have partnered with multiple counties for. I believe the actual document came from Pierce County. And DPI also has guidance that they've just released last week or the week before, as far as, okay, here's what that process looks like. So ultimately, it's partnering with Vernon County Health, and they do have an actual step-by-step plan for what that looks like and who they would potentially choose or decide who else would need to get tested and everything along those lines. So we can release that, and I'll share that with the board and the staff. I believe the Pierce County one came out yesterday, so I'll get that out to you guys as soon as I can. It is truly a good, just a good visual to see that this can actually work.
Okay, well, thanks.
Yep, thank you, Robert.
And once again, I'm going to say on the healthcare side of this, they came out with that yesterday. And everybody needs to understand that, that might change too. So even if you go to that site and look at what it is today, it is a possible scenario that it wouldn't be that way.
Yep.
Who would have to pay for those tests, for COVID tests?
It would depend on the situation. So again, it would depend on who's, if it's Vernon County that's administering the test, they have a different situation and who they bill and who they go through. Some, it depends on if they go to a healthcare facility. It all depends.
And do we have liability for the situation? Are we immune from it or not?
I wouldn't say the word immune, but what I would say is, as long as we are following the guidelines of the CDC and of the county, we are definitely in a great position. Again, immunity is probably not the term I would use, but we are following, guidelines based upon all of those, the CDC and the county.
Thank you.
Marina?
Hi, I thank you guys all for all of the work you put into it. And I know the whole board is children first and our safety first. I do think it's putting a lot of pressure on the teachers. And I did send Tom a bunch of questions today, and thank you for answering most of them as best as you could. My main concern really isn't a question. It's more splitting up the high school. Or in the middle school, I'm sorry. It looks like 5th and 6th grade, we're going 5 days a week, and 7th and 8th, we're doing A/B, and then a virtual on top of that. I'm just wondering how that will be for teachers. But, we do everything until it doesn't, and then we go back to a different plan. And I really like everyone's concept with trying this out as best as we can. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt?
Yeah, thanks for putting everything together. I appreciate all the work that went into it. I guess I know I'm an expert at not being an expert on this topic. So, and in my network, it seems to be about 50-50 of people who are for everything as far as being virtual and being precautious and safe. And there's 50% that say this whole thing is made up. Let's go back to school. And I think that's the challenge that we have, is trying to remove the emotion from what's going on. So I trust that the effort that has been put in to all of this is you are working with the people who have as best an answer as we have right now. So I appreciate that. I haven't been in contact with those people, and I think it makes sense that we move ahead to at least get us going, to have the conversations and get into the minutia, so we can start to develop and design that and make sure everyone's questions are answered, and we leave enough time in order to get those questions answered. So I think it would really behoove us tonight to pass this, and let's start having those conversations. I think one of the questions I have is for the charter schools and their governance councils. Do they have the ability to come out with their own plan separate from what the rest of the district is doing? Because I know they did send out some surveys for VAMs and some things there that the results were different than what the overall results were for the district. So,
and I can answer that to the best of my ability. The answer that can they come out with their own plan is no, because they're under our liability, legal team, everything along those lines. What I would say is that their situation is very different. How they deliver content is very different. And so they will have their own plan within the concept plan. And truly, in a situation where, let's give, VAMS the example. If 75% of VAM students choose to go into a virtual format, we will adjust staffing to meet that. That's how that would work, versus saying, hey, we're going to go 100% virtual because 75% of parents wanted that. That still would leave 25% of students that we have given that commitment to provide that different delivery for, that we would not be meeting that. And so that would, again, there's flexibility within this that would allow us to do that. But again, to say that there could be a completely different plan, I would say that that's not the case. Because again, they're falling under, we have to get all of this approved through, our legal team and, and the insurance companies. So, yep.
Thank you.
So for myself, I also sent a bunch of questions to Tom, and we had a conversation about the detail, which was that it's not been established yet. Everyone should know, I mean, we are a school of choice. We always have been, and I assume that will continue. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. But with that, there are legalities to all of this. There is also the CDC regulations. There's also, I mean, there's information out there. And so to have a classroom of 35 students, because that's how it was last year, if a group wanted that doesn't mean that we're going to do it, because that might not be the safest for those students. So everyone needs to keep that in mind when we're having these discussions. And it's not that we think that those programs were not fantastic. It's that we have a pandemic and everything has to be a little bit different to provide the safest environment for our staff, as well as our students, as well as our families. And our administrative team is following the science that has been given them today and the recommendations that have been given them today. And I admire and respect that, because I believe that is the route that we should be taking. And to our speakers who spoke today, safety is first. And don't think for a second that that's not being evaluated at the highest of levels. And with that being said, we also have the social emotional safety of our students and what's going on in a person's home. And so we're addressing safety, as always, on a lot of different levels. And so I hope everyone believes that everyone in this room only has the best interest of everyone within our district, and our parents, everybody, our grandparents. And we're doing the best that we can, knowing that education is essential. So with that, I'm going to have us vote on this concept plan. And I want to thank everyone that's put all the time into just this, which once again, it might change tomorrow, which makes me even feel terrible because of all of the possible thousands of hours that have gone into this concept and what it might look like. So I'll start with, pardon me? Oh, did I not do that? I thought I did that at the beginning. Did I not? I apologize. I should have done that at the beginning. Is there a motion to approve the 2021 return to school concept plan?
I so move.
A second?
Second.
All right, let's start with Matt. We'll have everybody. Marina? Marina? Are you an aye or a no? Aye? Okay. Robert?
I am an aye.
Okay, Robert.
With thanks, aye.
Okay, Amanda?
Aye.
Kim?
Aye.
Vicky?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Thank you all for all that you're trying to do to start our academic year. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye, aye, aye.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Have a great evening, everyone.
You
Yep,
too.
you too. Thank you, Robert.
I felt